I'm a DJ boy, going to Dcentral, minting NFT, farming DeFi, being crypto poor but JPEG rich.
The fact that you're currently losing value in fiat currency number by number, day by day, is just not okay. So my next guest, through Laguna, is offering solutions where you can say, hey, let me get a coin, let me get something stable, so I can protect my assets, so I can protect my future, so I can protect myself from what is happening outside of me. So, without further ado, let us introduce to the stage Mr. Stefan Rust.
Okay. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you. How's everybody feeling? Come on, we got to get more people in here. Come on, let's make some noise. Anyway. Hey, I'm Stefan Rust. You can see, I think my slides are going to come up pretty soon. But I'm from Laguna, and you can see that on the cap. We adjust and localize. But I'm here to talk about why we need stablecoins, and we need decentralized stablecoins, and why they're so important to us as an ecosystem. When I got into Bitcoin, I got in because of the peer-to-peer electronic cash system. That was a white paper that was drafted by a Satoshi Nakamoto. And when I experienced Bitcoin for the first time, it was using a Skype remittance across the world instantaneously and without any fees. And for me, that was really what got me hooked into crypto and into Bitcoin and into Web3, whatever we call it today. But that's what got me hooked into it. And that's why I feel that value add is something that I have spent my career in Bitcoin, which is since 2012, by the way, has been growing that peer-to-peer electronic cash system. One mistake I made, or I did not see, was the value of stablecoins. It is a user experience value that is underappreciated, and how that has benefited the whole crypto ecosystem is par none. We cannot appreciate that. Who wants to be the person that spent $300 million on a pizza? None of us want to be that person, but we're happy to spend 10 USDT on a pizza. The fact that we need to convert 10,000 BTCs into 10 USDT at that point in time to buy the pizza is something totally we forget about. But the fact that it costs today, at today's value, 300 million is something we don't forget. And so that user experience is purely psychological, but has a significant impact in driving greater adoption. And that's why we need to ensure that these coins still stick around and we continue to experiment. And are my slides coming or not? Or do I have a clicker, or do you, I don't know. They'll work it out. But anyway, and that's sort of why I feel we need to focus on decentralized stablecoins. We've all been through UST, right? We've all been burnt money, or I've been, we've all been impacted, let's say that's the right word, from Terra and Luna and USTs. Okay, thank you. There you go. Sorry? Wrong deck. There you go. That's next deck. There you go. Anyway, while they figure it out, I can just continue to keep you entertained. Yeah, there you go. But for all its flaws, the experiment around UST did move us as a whole community forward. We learned a lot. We shared a lot of the flaws that were identified. And of course, all the naysayers come out when it falls down, and we hear about the negativity that we saw it was going to fall, it was bound to fail, it was algorithmic. But at the time, since 2018 or 19, whenever they founded the project, it had grown and it had reached adoption. And it was reaching adoption at an exponential velocity that the Luna chain and the Luna coin could not keep up with. And that's why they were trying to back that up. And behind it were the institutional investors. So there were not only retail investors involved, there were a lot of institutional or so-called accredited investors involved in that. And so we invited these accredited investors into the Web3 sphere. We wanted more institutions. We wanted them to come in and help us grow this ecosystem. But there is a reason why they're called barbarians at the gate. Shark Tank, Wolf of Wall Street, right? There's a reason why they're there. They look for gaps. They look for opportunities that they can exploit and make significant money in. And that's what they've done. And we found out those flaws, and we as a community need to move forward fast, build faster, and continue to take those learnings into our products as we evolve, and we need to continue to innovate. That's critical and essential for what we're doing. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's not working. So I'm just going to talk here and I'm going to keep you entertained. Yeah. So what do we need to do out of that, and what's important, right? And so if we look at stablecoins, and why is stablecoin such an important element, right? Anybody read the book Peter Thiel, 1 to 0, or 0 to 1? Yes? There you go. In his book, he talks about technological innovation needing to be 10x, okay, there we go, needs to be, I jumped this slide, you know, the tattoo. I don't know whether that tattoo's still there. You can get tattoos removed though these days. But this is what we want to avoid. We invited these institutions into our ecosystem. And we now have layers on layers on layers that has been created in order to take a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash ecosystem to fit a traditional TradFi world, the system that we've been fighting so hard since 2008 to combat, into and adopting and making available for this new digital asset. Do we want this? I don't know. I didn't sign up to get into crypto and Bitcoin and a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for multiple layers, multiple middlemen, and multiple fees across the way working with all these middlemen. So there's a term, SSDD, and to be honest, I don't think I want to see us in this community to build another SSDD world that we're actually trying to change. I was just at, who was at Palm Beach? Who was at Permissionless? How did you find the event there? It was good? To me, it was more about permission more. So there was a lot about KYC, AML, regulators, how do we avoid scams, how do we protect the retail investor, how do we restrict retail investors to participate in this new wealth creation, etc. And so I actually coined it the permission more. And we had Bankless that was supporting it, and is Bankless actually really trying to make it less banking? If you look at the previous slide that we talked about, I can't see, yeah. That looks to me like a banking infrastructure on a decentralized world, which I think we need to come up with alternatives and innovate faster than the competition can keep up with. But yeah, I talked about the 1 to 0. We need to build a user experience that is 10x better than what is today. You know, taking a Twitter experience and just putting that onto the blockchain is not going to be enough. Taking a Facebook and making that available as a social platform on the blockchain is not going to be enough. The blockchain does not compute fast enough. The tooling is not appropriate for something of that volume, that magnitude, with that many frequent transactions. Yet, we still have a lot to build. And so, that is not the 10x. What a stablecoin has done to crypto, that is definitely a 10x. How do we build more UX, like we experience on a Web 2 environment, in a Web 3 infrastructure to really actually provide a 10x improvement? And that's what we're here all trying to do. NFTs has shown us a great way to do that. The metaverse is a first step, in getting us there. We still have a lot of work to do in front of us on the metaverse. But in essence, we need to sort of really work towards that. And why do I believe stablecoins are so important in this journey? You can see on the graph here, I've got the top 5 currencies in the world that we look at, from the Japanese yen, the dollar, the pound, and the euro. And that is a $23 trillion industry. Or 21, sorry, depending on the day and depending how much they've printed. But that's a $21 trillion industry. The aggregate of all stablecoins on chain, which is, by the way, super transparent. You can go and look online at any point in time. That is only $180 billion. So a tiny magnitude of where and what the full opportunity is. Now, just to take into contrast, Switzerland which I'm a citizen of, by the way, has a population of 8 million people. They have a currency called the Swiss franc. That Swiss franc caters to those 8 million people and has a market cap or circulation supply of 850 billion. So it's even bigger and supports a smaller community than all of us in DeFi, yet has a magnitude of 8x bigger than all the stable coins across the DeFi ecosystem. And so at the end of last year, we looked at the DeFi ecosystem, and you can, these numbers are just sort of ballpark figures and they've changed, but in the DeFi world, we at that time had maybe 10 million people in DeFi. We had maybe, 500 million people in some form or fashion owning crypto in some magnitude. That could be as an ETF, that could be on a Coinbase account, that could be in a decentralized wallet, but whatever the form was, they were having some form of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever it is. And that had a magnitude in the DeFi world at the time was 250 billion in terms of total value locked by those 10 million DeFi participants that were locking that in there. Now in the next 5 years, we have the opportunity, or next 4 years, we have the opportunity to take that total TVL up to $9 trillion. How are we going to do that? One way is we need to grow the base community from 10 million people to 200 million people, 300 million people. How do we do that? What do we need to do? And again, learning on building fluidity, learning on building payment systems, making a capability to use my stablecoin or my crypto. We can already use it as a utility token or a governance token. How do we use it more for purchasing products and real-world products outside of the crypto world? Those are all opportunities that we need to build a great user experience for. I mentioned I spent most of my career building out a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. I did that with an amazing network where we actually could do finality and confirm a transaction from a wallet to a point of sale system in fractions of a second. And that was all on layer 1 on chain. And so if we can build that again and get more circulation and more velocity around money, we have a really good opportunity to grow that. And how do we do that together as a community across all the ecosystems that we're all working on? And if I look at that $9 trillion, it's not even the size of the gold market today. Gold market is $10 trillion. We don't even come close in aggregate amongst all of us together to get to that market cap. That's something we should be able to do as a community in the next 3 years. And I believe this is really possible, and we're trying and working really hard to try and make this possible, and also work with you as a community to do that. And one of the things that I think we have a huge opportunity to address is inflation. The governments in the last sort of 2 years have been printing $15, $20 trillion of new coins coming into the market. Now they're doing quantitative tightening, so they're trying to restrain it, buy back some of that money, take it off the market. But Either way, that means that our traditional dollar values has been declining. And our purchasing power, all of us have experienced how empty that shopping cart feels, when you leave the supermarket or when you're leaving the grocery store. How do we make sure that that doesn't happen and we continue to innovate in the stablecoin environment? There's a number of projects taking place that are really trying to create this flat coin. Has anybody heard the term flat coin? Right. So the flat coin is a coin that is not depreciating and going down and pegged to a fiat currency, but it's pegged to a basket of consumer items that we spend on a day-to-day basis throughout the years. And how do we couple and calculate what that is? That is basically inflation. How is the price of that basket evolving over time? And what are we doing to protect that purchasing power? And how do we peg a coin to that basket? All the things that matter to us on a day-to-day basis. You've got great projects like Frax, Sperax, Volt, all innovating around that and trying to create a new opportunity. You've got Nuon that's up there that's just going through audits trying to do that as well. And so we're going to see continuous innovation, and the brilliance around a flat coin is it's pegged to your everyday real world items that you buy when you go to the supermarket. You pay rent, the utility bill you pay. Is there a way that because it's pegged to that, I know that that coin can always buy me that basket, and that's going to make sure it's not deflating. And so that becomes more important to both the grocer, to the retailer, the restaurant owner, the utility manufacturer, the utility provider, sorry. And then they will then accept that coin. And that's what we want to see. And that is going to help us hold the representatives that we vote into office to define policies and try to innovate and create opportunities for us. We need to hold them accountable. These professional politicians that are up there, how do we hold them accountable and how do we make them, it's super funny, not funny really, but if you do analogies to crypto and you look what's going on in the government at the moment, yesterday there was an announcement, or the day before yesterday, I think the SEC just announced that they're going after Binance, or they're looking into Binance and looking into some of the activities that Binance, so they're just researching. And they made that announcement. The same day, you have Senator Loomis coming out and saying, we're going to put forward a proposal that's going to make the SEC obsolete. And we're going to give all the coins that have been created, they're going to be utility tokens, and they're going to be under the CFTC. So there's a fork beginning to happen, even in the government. So the CFTC is going one angle, and the SEC is going another angle, and they're disputing, they're debating. Where does that go? Where does that leave crypto? That leaves a huge opportunity, not only in market opportunity, in market size and revenue, but it leaves an opportunity for us to really innovate and move fast. We in crypto land have always moved faster than in any other industry. We've always worked really hard. We work 7 days a week, 24/7. Everybody on here is already on their Telegram. They've answered 15 messages while I'm talking here. They're on their computers there, working, sending emails, doing spreadsheets, whatever you're doing. We're all contributing and continuously being productive. That speed, and with a level of competitiveness that we all have, we need to bring that to market in a safe framework and create new money that will allow us all to make sure that we create an inflation-protected ecosystem that I'd love for you to be a part of. Thank you for your time. My name's Stefan Roost. I'm a part of Laguna, and look to see you at our booth at number 3 if you have any questions. Thank you all very much.